for some Bengals news. At the Growler, we got you. Hot takes, interviews from your host, Paul Day Jr.
All right, welcome into the final evening of free agency, Dey Nights. Paul Dehner Jr. here with you, along with my good friends and your good friends, Mark Shalafou, Jay Morrison, Charlie Goldsmith. How we hanging in there, guys? It's I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna be upfront tonight. Okay. I feel like transparency is best. I don't know that I can do this again. I need you to carry me. I need you to carry me through tonight. Can anybody carry me through another night of talking about how the Bengals didn't do anything?
This is actually Zach Taylor's pregame message to the defense in week 7. I don't know that I can do this again tonight. Or it's message to Burrow. I need you to carry me.
Yeah. I've never run a marathon, but I've run several half marathons, and you look so forward to getting to that last mile, and that last mile is the absolute worst. I feel like I'm waiting to finally get to this final show, and I hope that's not the case where it is just a grind to get through. You guys will make sure that's not the case.
You're discounting emergency podcast season too. I mean, this is the last scheduled Dey Nights, but I mean, eventually something will happen. And I love that whole concept of the emergency podcast, because I'm picturing like that's the one time that Superman's out saving people. Oh no, emergency podcast. I need to go put my journalist costume back on so I can give some hot takes.
That's what I do on my Saturday nights.
That's it. Well, I will say that is going to be the plan going forward. If any of these things that do hang out there, if something major does happen, we can always convene the Avengers for an emergency Dey Nights when things do happen going forward. For right now, though, this will wrap up our free agency week. It has been a blast doing these, though. I have really enjoyed it every night. It's been fairly exhausting to think that it's going to be, how are we going to get through this? And then I end up at like 40 minutes and I'm like, that was a breeze. I guess it wasn't that hard. Yeah. And so imagine how good we can be when something actually happens.
Assuming it does.
Assuming it ever does. Maybe it never will. The next time anything actually happens will be like after the opener. Right, that'll be kind of where we end up.
It turns out this podcast doesn't have a good first couple weeks. We're like the Bengals; we need to heat up as the year goes along.
Well, we will see where we end up tonight. We could end up with LSD. We could end up with Charlie talking about shotgunning. You just never know. We never quite know where it ends up each night, but we're gonna get to a few things. Of course, our guy Eric Sztanyo from Keller Williams is gonna come join, as he always does. We always like to bring him in on Dey Light, of course. But this is kind of the Dey Light version at night, and so we're gonna hear from him. He's got news, real news that I think you guys are all gonna be very excited.
A real reason
you're
to
stick around for that. That's all I'm saying. Is you're gonna want to stick around for that. And so we'll get to him here in a little bit. A few other games. We might play some games with you in the chat. Thanks to everybody that's been lighting up the chat on these, because you guys have helped us get by. I think we might lean back into you again tonight. So if you've got questions, anything, put them in there. Mark will be monitoring and drop some questions from you. And then we had kind of an idea later. If you have any player on the current roster or recent roster, I would say any player, literally any player you've had any thought about, and maybe you want to just test us and see if we have a story, drop their name into the chat. And later on, we'll see if we can fire off 30 seconds of thoughts about whoever comes to your mind. And maybe that could be a fun way for us to wrap this up, because we're not talking about the Bengals signings, but we are talking about what happened today. As far as some news, we were down at the stadium. Samaje Perine did a press conference, as did TJ Slayton. Jay, any takeaways from either of those as we said hello again to Samaje and said hello for the first time to TJ?
I thought TJ was really enjoyable. And I know you talk sometimes about coaches winning the press conference. It doesn't mean anything if a guy comes in and has a great opening press conference. We've seen good ones before go bad. We've seen bad ones turn into really good players. But I thought it was notable that he even said it. He stepped to the podium. He's like, man, been a while since I did this, because I'm sure defensive tackles in Green Bay probably didn't get a lot of podiums. And he was really comfortable. He was really confident. You expect a guy like that to be kind of a little nervous, and probably more people he's talked to in a long time. And I thought he felt very at ease and was enjoying the moment. And I thought it was a good opening impression of that guy. Now, can he play? We'll see. But I thought that's what you want to see. You want to see a guy that's confident in himself. And he didn't just put that air on. The way he talked, he sounded like a guy that's really confident. He came here for a reason. A lot of times these guys don't know what's coming. And I asked him, I was like, are you aware that you're going back to Lambeau to play this year? And he said, yeah. And I said, what's that going to be like? He's like, I'll just keep my nerves in check and go out and ball out. And I mean, he just is confident that he's I don't want to say the answer, but that he's going to come in and be a key part of this defense.
He's certainly confident he's going to stop the run. And hard not to be confident when you were shining like he was. He had the jewelry, he had the teeth. I mean, he was just like, he was shining up there. And then he called himself a truck, and then he specified a Brinks truck with money in it. And you got to respect that.
That's the best kind. Yeah.
And honestly,
I had one note.
At him, he walks in the room and you're like, yeah, he kind of is a truck. He's kind of a truck.
I had one note, and this is just watching him play. Like, I think he's more of a train. I think he's very much on the rails. He's going in one direction. I don't know that he's really changing lanes or gearing up on the highway or anything like that people in trucks do. But I think he's steadily chugging along. It's a shame it's not Thomas, TJ, but close enough for a train.
You know how like sometimes people's personalities can kind of like match their cars? It'd be really funny if it was the opposite and like Charlie drove a real big truck. Like it's like, man, I got to tell you, didn't see
and you would be correct. I don't drive a big
coming from you, Charlie. I really thought you'd be a Honda, like an escort guy or something like that,
if anyone in the chat would drop the name KJ Henry, I'd share the one KJ Henry quote that stands out, which is defensive ends drive, Maseratis, and tight ends drive trucks. And I'm neither, and I also drive neither, but I would like to lean more towards the defensive end side.
Yeah. So Samaje Perine, sort of, I always, Samaje is a great quote, a sneaky great quote that people maybe don't realize. He doesn't particularly care about talking to us. And he'll usually kind of be against it at first. Like whenever he was in the locker room when he was here, I always felt like he certainly put on airs that he really didn't want to talk to you. He would just kind of stare at his locker a lot of times and not even stand up or whatever. And that was fine. But then you'd start talking to him and he's fantastic. He's very genuine, kind, thoughtful person, and oftentimes says things that surprise you a little bit. I remember that. And then I had kind of forgotten. And then today he answered a question when he was asked something about being on recent Super Bowl teams that hadn't won it, and if winning the Super Bowl is something that was important to him. And he said, no, it's not. He's like, no, I want to prove and go out there and practice hard and care about playing it the right way, and like go out there and prove that I can still do this and be the best player and teammate I can be. And I just thought that was awesome. Like, it wasn't the canned, oh yeah, of course I want to win a Super Bowl. No, he's like, it was spoken like a guy who's been to a couple Super Bowls recently. He's like, you play a long season when you go to the Super Bowl. It's really long. And so I appreciated that from Samaje. I really like that. Maybe, I don't know if people were like put off by it, but I thought it was awesome.
Well, and to be fair, he didn't say he didn't. He just said that's not what motivates him. He said, of course, everybody wants to win a Super Bowl, but that's not what drives him. And he loves the game, and he loves the grind of working every single day because he wants to prove that he can be the best he can be at this game. So you're right. I did. I thought that was a really good, interesting quote. I actually ended my story with that one because I don't want people to read into it the wrong way where he doesn't care about winning. He absolutely cares about winning, but that's not what's driving him. Where a lot of guys in this position, it is. You get up around age 30, you haven't won one yet, and that's all you're trying to do is catch on somewhere where where you can win a ring. And he even talked about how much he enjoyed becoming a better blocker last year in the Kansas City offense, and how he's looking forward to kind of bringing that here, and how the similarities and how Joe can make things happen off script the way Patrick Mahomes does. And you have to be ready at all times. And so I thought his was a really interesting press conference too, all the way through, not just the Super Bowl quote.
Yeah.
So you guys were down there
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you guys were down there for the press conferences. Did you hear any rumors, any rumblings of something happening? Because we're at like vague GIF season now on social media, and people just posting like cute little emojis and stuff just because there's literally nothing else to talk about. Do you have like at least a good GIF or meme that we can put out there into the world?
I didn't hear anything.
I don't. There is not a lot of rumbling going on, and in fact, a lot of times, you see some of these other teams, like I was seeing quotes from Ryan Poles today in Chicago, because sometimes you bring in a lot of the free agents, and you'll see a GM or a coach, like Zach Taylor introduced Gesicki the other day. There wasn't any of that. It was just the players that came in, and so that was the only people that we really even saw around. But no, there's not a lot of rumblings happening at this point. That's for sure. I do think we should take this moment in time to maybe recalibrate Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, and T. Higgins, because we've spent a lot of time talking about nothing happening and his defense, and I think it's time to kind of let's circle back a little bit to where we think this is at. Let's start with Hendrickson, and let's just talk about where you think this could go, and what is what's the best case scenario here. I think we're at the point now where Hendrickson has to probably come back, and we have obviously lots of reports out about. Look, Trey, the asking price for Trey is very high, and I'm sure the Bengals have put it there for a reason, because ideally, I do think that they would love to get a deal done with Trey at their price. And if they can find a way to get him back to the table to make that happen, it's like, well, if you can, we'd rather that. Or if there was a first-round pick associated, then that, and maybe a first-round plus. I don't know if you guys feel like it looks differently. I mean, do you see it that way? And do you think that at this point, that's where it stands with Trey Hendrickson?
What's tangibly changed are two things, which are, one, you saw there was movement on the edge rusher market, but they were to none of the teams that were rumored for Hendrickson. Like, the teams that got the best edge rushers were Arizona and the Chargers and the Raiders and the Saints. So there wasn't movement there, but you did see the Bengals act at the team that wasn't in the market for that edge rush help at the top of the market themselves. With what Hendrickson learned about the market, my best case scenario would be a prediction would be that Hendrickson ends up playing the year on a 1-year raise that you see sometimes around the NFL as a way to kind of make good and use some of this cap space that the Bengals have, while Trey keeps the opportunity to be a free agent next year and doesn't make the mistake he did in 23 by adding a year onto his deal. To me, that makes all the sense in the world. But the trade market seemingly hasn't changed, but the free agent market seems to be way out of the Bengals' hands right now.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario is you get T done and you restructure him and take some of his cap hit off of this year, and that money goes over to Trey, and it just offsets that raise. I do think that that's the way to go, is to give Trey a raise, kind of a gentleman's agreement. You're not going to tag him next year. Keep him happy. Keep him here. The report came out about the Bengals asking for a first-round pick for him. I don't think that's a blanket request. I think the team that calls might be picking in the 28 to 32 range. So yeah, the Bengals are going to say, we want your first. We don't want your second in number 64 or whatever that's going to be. But if it's a team much higher in the draft, then a 2 would make more sense. And it makes sense either way for them to ask for the sky and see what comes back. But I agree with Charlie. There was just too many guys out there that made sense on short 1 year very reasonable contracts that the Bengals, for whatever reason, either didn't pursue or didn't even try to sign. And I think that all points to they're going to do what it takes to get Trey back. I know Duke talked about extending him, but at this point, it feels more likely a 1-year substantial raise, and then just let him hit free agency next year.
Boy, it's just hard to think of the Bengals just giving someone more money just because. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. It's like, or they could just force him to go call his bluff and force him to play out this contract, right? It's one thing to do, and maybe they could find that number again and whatever it looks like. I hope for their sake it is. But, that sounds great, but I don't, man, that just doesn't seem like that's the way it would end up going. As far as trades go, I mean, I think there's some teams that probably the way that they moved takes them out of it. I think if you poking around, I think Washington would still be interested. They feel like even though they made the Tunsil trade, they still have capital. They still have the 29th overall pick. They still have, a need to kind of go for it and find a big edge rusher. Right? It feels like that's still kind of hanging out there for them. I think Chicago, we mentioned Ryan Poles kind of talked about, we're happy where we're at, but we're always looking to add. They still have 39 and 41 in round 2 there. And if they could find a move there, the Bengals would be obviously putting themselves so far out at this point is where how do you do? Well, you have to know that you're able to get somebody that can come in and give you some semblance of what Trey Hendrickson was giving you immediately. And that has to have a pretty high pick attached to it if you were actually going to be doing that. And so for that fact, it certainly does feel it feels unlikely at this point. But it's just all a big mess.
Yeah, it sucks that even the best case scenario here is like still him playing for one more season and then walking away for nothing. And we have to hope that he doesn't fall off the cliff this season and he still plays at that crazy level that he was at last year. And in the end will still be frustrating for us. And that's the best case scenario.
But it
is funny because
but Charlie, he knows though that this is his year to cash in. Okay. And so if he ends up knowing that no trades came about and the Bengals are offering whatever their current best offer is, let's say, he's never going to have another year. He's only going to be a year older. He's only going to be not coming off probably the runner-up as defensive player of the year. Like, he's never going to have a chance to cash in money and guarantee as much money as you ever can for the rest of your life, like he can right now. Anything can happen. He could come out next year and have 8 sacks and a knee injury, right? And I'm not wishing that on anybody. I'm just saying, like, this is the NFL, man. This stuff happens, and the one injury to an older-ish player, a 30-plus player, tends to be the thing that you end up looking back on. He needs to cash in now at whatever he can. And I understand his frustration with feeling like it could be so much higher than what the Bengals are offering. But aren't the Bengals kind of counting on the fact that he comes back to that, or they kind of force him to come back to that realization? And then he realizes, you know what? I should just take the best thing the Bengals have to offer and the most I can make out of this, because this is my moment. This is my moment to get the money for a lifetime.
That's what I was thinking too, because how the Bengals positioned this was, all right, Trey, go, knowing at the end of the day it was ultimately a Bengals decision whether or not they would trade him. But how honestly Trey positioned this whole thing was to him coming back to the Bengals at the end of the day with here's a trade and extension combination. Would you help facilitate this? And obviously the leverage then would be in the Bengals court, because all of permission to seek a trade, all that stuff, all of those talks were happening on Trey's side. He's had to come back to the Bengals all along at the end of the day.
And what you said, Paul, about, it's hard to envision them just giving him money for no reason. I look at it as an insurance policy, because you want him happy and you want him fully engaged in OTAs and training camp. And I mean, what's the biggest story around this team right now, personnel aside? It's the slow start and getting over that. You want everybody. Trey may not sit out the year because you're forcing him to play on that deal, but he might hold out until the week before the opener or the day before the opener, who knows? And so just giving him that little extra bump just kind of ensures that you make him happy. He's going to be fully engaged in the offseason, in training camp. You get Jamar done, you get T done, you get everybody there for all of training camp, play him in the preseason, and then hit the ground running in week 1 and not have to deal with these 0-2 starts again.
We shall see how it all goes. On that note, though, we're going to switch it up. I'm going to boot Charlie here for a second, and we're going to bring in our guy from Keller Williams, Eric Sztanyo. What is up, Sztanyo? What's going on?
Yo, good to see you. Back for season 2.
Welcome into you're live. This is your first live experience. You know, you've always had the safety net of just a pre-recording. You can go whatever direction you want, but here you are. You're on Thursday Night Live.
Wow.
Don't mess it up. Don't screw it up.
It's big time, right? To be back here, season 2. Not a lot going on with the Bengals right now. I know that's frustrating, but since we've talked last, a lot's been going on with Team Sztanyo. Okay.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We had a huge 24, our biggest year ever. 25 is going off even stronger. We closed our first Growl Pal.
Nice.
Bam.
Let's go.
My man Daniel bought a condo downtown. Awesome. We saved him thousands of dollars on the negotiation, by the way. It was awesome. We've got another Growl Pal couple. They're out there shopping for their first house right now.
Yes.
We've got a former Bengal under contract for a new home. So like things are happening.
Can you drop a name? Can you drop a name on a former
Bengal? I'm gonna keep that confidential for right now.
Oh, okay. I see. You're too
How about
good
a position
to tell us?
Former tight end.
Former tight end.
Yeah, you can guess for it. So we're out there. You know, Bengals haven't won any hardware, but you know, Team Sztanyo is bringing in the hardware last
Love
year.
it.
Look at this. I'm patting my own back right here.
Do you keep your awards close to the camera on purpose? Is this how it goes?
I want this.
Make sure you keep them right by the camera so you can show everybody all your awards.
Got to get
show and tell, baby.
Look at that. Mark's got the hat on. Got it. Just throwing out a little credibility out there so people just think I just don't have oodles of cash to pay Paul to be on, to be a fan.
No. This is the #1 real estate YouTube channel in Cincinnati. Don't forget that. Anybody that needs to know, you're watching us on YouTube right now. Go over to at Team Sztanyo over there. Find out about markets and neighborhoods and trends and everything. He's hooking you up. It's all very well done over there.
#1 YouTube channel on the #1 Bengals podcast. I just want to say, you guys, hey, there's a lot of Bengals podcasts out there, but we all know. All the Growl Pals know that everyone comes here to PD&J to get the real scoop. This is where it all goes down. So you guys, I appreciate being here.
This is the same thing you say to Rapine when you go on Locked On, isn't it?
Yeah, we're working the back channels on a deal right now. That's right. We're gonna get some.
What do you? Let's see. What do you got for me?
Yeah.
What do you got for me?
All right. So I know Bengals fans are all upset, very, very angry. The C was angry that day, my friend. I'm angry too. And I have bad news. I'm just going to make you more angry because I didn't get to talk about the NFLPA grades that came out a few weeks ago. And I've got a bone to pick. I've got to go back to this. Okay. I know there's the food thing that was an F, but the F- for the treatment of families absolutely drove me crazy, and it's still staying with me. I think it is such a huge missed opportunity. There's many opportunities, as we Bengals fans know, that this front office is missing. But what do we have at Cincinnati? What are we known for? We're a small market team. Our ownership is, we have Pete Rose. Yeah. Yeah. We know that we're going to get
Nick Lachey.
Yes. Right. We don't have a lot. Okay. We don't have a lot. Our ownership is cheap. Like that's a constant joke. We're always going to get, but we don't have an ocean. We don't have mountains. We don't have like big city media glamour. We don't have these things. What we have,
the Ohio River is personally offended by you not giving it credit.
Look, no,
what a majestic body of water.
No, look, the Ohio River is glorious. But what I'm saying is the Ohio River Valley, this region, it's a great place to raise a family. Like that's what this city is good at. Raising families. Like this is it's affordable. The people are friendly. We have the Ohio River and Skyline and Graders, and it's awesome to raise your kids here. And so to get an F- on the treatment of families, I was just like, are you kidding me? This is a family-owned NFL team. There's like not that it's a multi-generational. If there's anything you should get right, it should be this, the treatment of families. And I want to ask you on this, because like it's one thing about the childcare and to have a place. I know you were talking about the security and stadium and room for it and all this, but I was just thinking about it like, what is the value for the brand if you're ownership to have someone like Anthony Munoz, who's from California and comes here and decides to stay in the city, right? And to give back to the community. And the Solomon Wilcots and the Jim Breaches and the Doug Pelf, like these, like the Dave Laphams, right? These guys, like, it means so much. And we've got Joe Burrow from Ohio. And if you can't treat, I know he doesn't have a family, totally right. I mean, he's got his parents here all the time, but like, you're going to lose him. Like, he's going to win a championship.
Yeah.
And then the big city's going to be like, oh, you're still cheap. You just want it. What, Bengals fans, just prepare yourself. Whenever we win the Super Bowl, they're all going to still say we're cheap and we got lucky. And then New York and LA is going to come for Burrow. And I'm just like, get it right. Like, this is the one thing we have. Please get this right. Please give me your thoughts and talk me off the edge.
I think it's something that it's an easy fix. It is go to these families, go to the people, the players, the wives, the moms, whatever, go to all of these people and ask them, like, tell us what you most want. Is it about the daycare? Is it about a place to go after the game? Like, and they should know this already. I mean, they shouldn't have to do this because of the survey, and just create an answer. Like, make them feel like, as they should, because you should be doing it, that you're reaching out to them and saying, how can we make this better? How can we mend this for you? What is the best way for us to do it? And let's find a solution. Like, care about it, right? Put the effort out there, put time together, take a meeting, like all of that, and put together a plan for next year to try to help that. And if it's just as simple as having some version of daycare on game days or whatever, then invest in that.
I have that's
meaningful. If that's what helps make people feel more at home being a player here.
All of my friends have 5 kids. This is not hard. Like, we can figure this out.
Well,
but
first of all,
too many kids.
Are you volunteering? You're saying you're volunteering.
Yeah, I'm saying, come interview me. I'll tell you how to take care of parents. This is not hard, but all these things stack up. I just think you're losing the long-term value of the players potentially staying in the community. And that, for the brand, is huge.
Yes.
The biggest problem is this wasn't a bomb just dropped on him this year. This is what, 3 years in a row it's been like that, and there's been no movement to fix it.
No doubt. Can you give me a quick nutshell synopsis of what people need to know about the housing market right now, just so we can fulfill our people that came here for your real estate knowledge? Give me a quick nutshell.
I'm going to make this really easy on a nutshell. You're going to see headlines about, tariffs and immigration and housing prices going down, but just know that the Cincinnati real estate market is actually very similar to the Cincinnati Bengals free agency market. Okay.
Oh no. No one's buying.
We're not going to reset the market. Okay. We're more like going to be buying on wave 3. Okay. That's where when something booms, we don't boom too much. And if a bubble bursts, we don't bust that much either. We're kind of right in the middle. So just whatever headlines you're seeing out there, know that in Cincy, we're kind of like a 9-8 Bengals team,
Yeah.
Just enough to get you to come back.
Okay. We have told people that you have news. Okay. Yes. You have news. And so I'm just gonna tell the people your news, and I'm putting this up on the screen.
Right on. All right. So Mark has noted that I'm not great at Bengals trivia at the live shows, but I am great at giving away free things.
Yes.
To the Growl Pals. And so Growl Pals, here's what I got for you. Besides the hats, which everyone loves, we are giving away, in partnership with Keller Williams, not a 1, not a 2, not a 3, but a 4-pack of Bengals season tickets, 2025 season tickets. All you have to do to enter is call the number that you see on the screen right now. Call right now. Actually, don't call right now. You need to put.
Don't call right now. Do not call right now.
March 25th. We're like 12 days away. We got to get ready for it. But March 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You call 513-202-3589. You register to win. You could win a 4-pack of Bengals season tickets.
Is this a special Growl Pal number here?
This is a special Growl Pal. We made this just for the Growl Pals. We have a dedicated line for the growl
dedicated line.
That's
wow.
Right.
Absolutely love it. There it is. It was just the gift that keeps on giving. All right, there it is. 513-202-3589 on that date. Season tickets.
Yes.
4 season tickets. Unbelievable.
I'm going to win them.
Yeah.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you, Mr. Sztanyo. Really appreciate it. All right. This was amazing. Thanks for dropping big news. Of course, everybody, as a reminder, you need to know that you need to be subscribing to the YouTube channel at Team Sztanyo. And you can always hit him up, email directly, info@teamsztanyo.com, SZTANYO, or go to www.teamsztanyo.com to connect. All right. Thanks, Sztanyo. We will talk to you next time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Woo. All right. We gotta, you're still on, and we're gonna get rid of you. Then we're gonna bring Charlie back, and he's gonna come back.
Hey.
Yes. Hey, Charlie's back. Hey, Charlie.
What did we miss?
How
Did you
about
chug
that?
a beer while
4
you were off
season
camera?
tickets.
I'd like to point out that we knew about the giveaway beforehand, but Jay still gave a very convincing wow.
Yeah. You got to. You got to.
You gotta sell
Very convincing. It was good. No, it was good.
All right. Great stuff there. Let's do we want to do what do you guys I'm open to anything at this point. Do we want to hit up the chat? Do we want to do you guys have any thoughts of relevance on Chaser T that are left? You know what I mean? Like, does anybody have anything they want to fire off their chest about Jamar Chase or T Higgins before we move on? Because I don't know that I have anything else left to say about them right now.
I kind of think that we need to do a new growler bet just because I want you guys to make some more news with your predictions of T Higgins getting a new deal.
It's a great
just throw out a new date. How about next Monday? Let's get that rolling. Let's get some more steam for the pod. And Paul says next Monday's the date.
No, not doing anything like that anymore.
No more growler bet on that?
Yeah,
okay.
no more. Now, the growler bet might get wiped out completely after that ridiculousness. So just saying, we'll have to have a whole new bit. All right. So no more takes to fire off on T or Jamar. So let's go to the chat. Let's see what's happening in the chat. Mark, have you found anything good in there?
I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in there. Charlie is always getting a lot of praise. Charlie
is that one of your high school buddies, Charlie, or did
you
play hoop with Nick?
No, I do not. I do not know Nick, but I'm sure I could get a good basketball game going if you're interested.
I want to know what's in Charlie's red solo
point guard
cup.
and a glue guy together.
Yeah, what is in your cup, Charlie?
In my red solo cup is water. Earlier we discussed me not being a driving truck guy. Paul, Mark, Jay, would you expect me to be a doing the dishes guy?
Wait,
no,
so you got to
do
do
I have,
something.
I have the red solo
Don't
cup.
you live alone?
Well, I don't have dishes.
Oh my God, that just got more depressing. I didn't even know where you were going with that. I was
this man doesn't have a dish, people.
You sound like a hitman. Like that's how you're living your life. No dishes, just in a closet doing a podcast. You don't know when you're gonna have to just vacate, just get out of town.
No,
why don't you have any dishes? I need an answer before we answer from the chat. I need to know why you don't have any dishes.
I use the nice paper cutlery. It's saving me some time. It's not. It's not like I've got like 6, family members who I'm feeding here.
I respect paper plates. I got respect.
I'm open to more questions.
Yeah. Maybe that's what the rest of this.
This is what happens when the Bengals don't sign anyone.
That's it.
Any chance Mike Hilton returns? Arguably the second best player on the defense last year and the most physical.
I mean, I would say no. I would say no, but the fact that he's still out there, who knows if the market's totally dry and it's gonna what the Bengals are willing to pay him, other teams are willing to pay him, maybe, but I still don't see it happening. Someone's going to pay him, and I think that decision was made. He wanted an extension last year. Bengals weren't interested in it then, so I'd be really surprised to see a corner his age, as good as he was last year. It's another guy over the 30 age mark that I don't see them bringing back.
Definitely sounds like Dax's time in the slot. DJ maybe gets some run in there too. He would be their second best pass rusher though. Mike Hill.
No question. Maybe he'll end up taking Jermaine Pratt's linebacker
Defensive line.
Yeah. Well, we were joking when Samaje today kept talking about how good he's gotten at blocking. He's like, is he going to be really surprised when they tell him he's wearing number 66? You, sir, are a guard. Let's see.
Next
we got
question is,
Brad in the chat. What's he got?
Do you believe the team is more or less likely to re-sign Trey Hendrickson to a multi-year deal, since it seems like no team is willing to pay the asking price?
I'd say less. I mean, I don't know. Anything changes because of that. I mean, Duke said they want to pay him, that he's outperformed his contract and they want to pay him. But I don't know that you want to go there with a multi-year with someone at his age. The fact that the market isn't really there for him, I don't know that changes anything. I think that they would like to get something done at their price, but we all know Trey wants a lot more than that. Does he come off of that, or does he, what we talked about earlier, just say, bump me up and one more good run at it and then hit free agency next year?
What I wish you could do is you see this in – go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You see this in baseball all the time. It's like you sign a 4-year deal with a team option for $16 million. And it's like, well, if he becomes one of the best catchers in baseball, so like with Trey, and I'm not a cap structure expert, and so and you really don't even see this type of deal too much in the NFL, but like if you could make it a 2-year, $72 million deal with all of next year not being guaranteed, but Trey gets to say I'm on a 2-year, $72 million deal, but in reality, it's not really a 2-year, $72 million deal. It's a 1-year, $30 million deal. I like that idea, but I just don't know how to line those numbers up.
Yeah, to me, that's it. Is you're exchanging the money that he wants to take the year off, or the structure to get out of it. Right. That's probably where the Bengals would want to come in, and that's probably where the divide is. All right, what else do we got?
All right, our next one is, which member on the Bengals defense would you want to have your back in a street fight? And we are guys that get into a lot of street fights, so this is a good question for us. Who are you taking on this Bengals defense?
Bengals defense street fight.
I mean, I'm still locked into Trey Hendrickson on this. You get blackout Trey on your side. Yeah. I mean, there's nobody we're not taking down in a street fight. That I don't. Yeah. You know, off-season Trey isn't my favorite, but Trey under the bright lights, yeah, he's a maniac. I want that guy on my side in a street fight. Absolutely.
I think it's a bad sign that you can't immediately come up with 3 names right off the top of your head. I'm like, I don't know. Who would I? Well, they're all
I got my
guys,
pick.
And they're all strong, and I'm sure they could do the job. But when you're looking for that little shit in the neck attitude, I don't know that there's anybody out there that really matches that description.
My pick's the guy who I'm buying stock in as a cornerback. It's Josh Newton.
Josh Newton in a lightweight fight.
Street fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest guy doesn't always win.
That's true.
Yeah, but you know what? I might take TJ Slayton with me after today. Yeah. I mean, he's a truck. So, I mean, I'm good with that. I'll just stand behind him and hopefully that keeps me clean. You know, that's what it's really about. I like that. All right, what else do we got?
With all the talk of alignment in the offseason, is there actually a disconnect between coaching players and the front office with the ownership group negotiating deals?
Hard to know.
Where do you put alignment at this point? Yeah.
Well, they obviously want it, and I'm sure the front office knows what the coaches want. That doesn't mean that the coaches always get that. You know, I think that they do want their opinion. They want to give them things that they think will work in their defense or offense or players or styles or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, knowing what your coach wants doesn't mean that's what he ends up getting, because they couldn't get things done financially. And so I think alignment, disconnect, I think everybody in the building knows what they want. It's just a matter of, you know, when you're told we can't afford that, or we're not going to do that, or we're working on it. I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it as a coach, right?
Yeah, and they are in alignment when it comes to drafting players. Free agency, I think there's a little bit more of a disconnect, but we've seen too where maybe the front office didn't want to make a move in the past, and the coaches did, and the front office acquiesced, and that guy or those guys are no longer here. So I don't think it's as disjointed as people might think it is, even though this has not been a good week to back that up.
This is from Allie. Since you guys are reaching a little bit, name some good burger spots to hit when coming in for a game. So,
all right, here we go. Now you're coming up my alley here. Well, let's start with Zips. I gotta give my East Side some love. I gotta go Zips. I gotta throw my guys at 50 West. The Burger Bar at 50 West is outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a single Illinois guy, but they have many different options and sauces and things like that. Highly recommend 50 West if you're going burgers. Those are two immediately off the top of my head.
I think
Sammy's Craft Burgers and Blue Ash.
Sammy's.
Fun fact, I don't know that you guys know this about me. I don't eat beef for like 2-3 years now. I've just been on chicken and fish.
No beef, no
beef.
dishes. It's starting to get.
You're learning all sorts of
profile
things
is
about me.
growing more and more concerning.
I don't like that we could get this far into this question and not mention our friends at Nation Kitchen. Obviously, their burgers are terrific.
I get their turkey burger regularly, actually. Seriously.
Yeah, you recommended that to me. It was very good. So yeah, we got to prop them up. Of course,
they have
I'm
the
a big
quesadilla burger is the one that I always get.
Quesadilla burger is great.
The bacon jam.
But if I'm outside that area, then I'll go Quatman all day. Solid burger over there.
You know what I like? I really liked Quatman. I still like Quatman's, and I do go there. But you know what was really interesting for me was they have their place in Norwood, which was where we would go to. I used to live near there. I wore a Norwood shirt last night, but they renovated it, right, and it's much nicer now. And I miss the old. I liked it when it was like more dingy and run down, and like that's grimy. When I think of it's part of why I like Zips. Not that Zips is dingy, but it's dark. It's just kind of it's got its own like burger vibe, that makes it great. And I was like, oh, it's nice in here at Quatman's now. I kind of liked it when it wasn't as nice, and it's a weird thing to say. The food is still just as good. I like it all the same.
Good spot,
but yeah, I love Quatman's. Yeah, I've been to the Mason spot too. It's also very good.
Next question is, how much do you guys think the pending status of the big three is impacting their ability to sign free agents?
Theoretically, an extension would help them sign free agents.
Yeah, especially when you talk about T. I mean, it clears more space. You can space it out however you'd like to and push things further down the line and what have you. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot of. It's really it's just hard to explain at this point, isn't it? It's like so much of like trying to explain their strategy is like, I don't know. I'd love to know.
We glossed over it on Monday night when we thought we'd have lots of things to discuss this week. Do we have any more thoughts on Oren Burks?
No.
I think
we'll wait till
not really.
As soon as he does his press conference.
No. I mean, I think he seems like a fine ADG replacement, right? He seems like he'll fit right in there. If you need him to start a few playoff games, well, you can lean into that. You're not going to ask him to do that unless he absolutely earns it. But I think he's a third linebacker and a special teams guy, right? Isn't that?
Don't you need to have a second linebacker to have a third linebacker?
I'm under the impression at some point they're going to have a second linebacker.
I thought Muma was the third linebacker.
I don't think Oren Burks is. Maybe he is. Maybe he's the answer, and they're planning on being more aggressive drafting that position than we realize, and they're going to have Burks and a pick compete against each other. I don't think that's smart, but perhaps that's where this goes. I just think there's something else brewing at linebacker. That's all.
I think this is just for Paul. This is a flag question. Do you fly the USA flag with a themed flag, or do you just fly the themed flag?
What kind of a lunatic you think I am, flying two flags at once? Look, just have a decision, fly the flag of the day. You can get to the American flag tomorrow if you need it. I'm not going to be half and half. It's just, I'm a little offended by the idea, honestly, that I would be out here, be a two flag guy.
A little.
I have my one.
if you've listened to the show from the inception, and shout out to all the Growl Pals that have been here for the whole journey, you would have learned that Paul is notoriously an anti-American flag guy. He's got a lot of different flags he likes to put up. Hates the American flag. That's him. That's not the rest of us. The rest of these boxes, we all love the American flag. Paul, kind of goes either way with it. Got a lot of other flags that he likes to fly.
Charlie, the supporting fist for American flags.
Charlie, he doesn't have forks, but he's got an American flag at his place. He's got no plates, no real plates, but he does have a flag. A football question. We're going to go back to the sport of football, the National Football League. This is from Edwin. Has the other North team set the world on fire in free agency? So he has not been paying close attention to the other teams. So any big moves that they need to be afraid of?
But Baltimore, did what they do. They got Ronnie Stanley back, and that was massive for them because teams really wanted him, and there wasn't a whole lot of other options, as you saw the way some of the other mid tackles were paid. That was big for them to be able to keep Ronnie Stanley at a hometown discount, a guy they gave a pay cut to a year ago, and that was, to me, that tells you a little bit about where they're at. I mean, they're just in a good place where you've got Lamar, you've got everybody sort of on board. They keep churning out good defenses. I think Baltimore had a good one, and the Browns and the Steelers didn't, because the Steelers don't have a quarterback, or they're apparently waiting on Aaron Rodgers to come off the beach or whatever drug bender he's on. And the Browns have Kenny Pickett now. So there's their story.
You know what the Browns did, though, and I didn't know you were allowed to do this. They had Myles Garrett, but then they got 2 more pass rushers in Joe Tryon and Malik Collins. I didn't know you could have.
You can't do that.
More than
no,
one,
you only need one.
You got to
don't
turn
need
him
to
into
go
the
get
league.
another one. You don't need to get. I see it mentioning the DK Metcalf thing to Pittsburgh. That's fine. It's weird though. DK and George Pickens are very similar. They're both kind of volatile, and they don't have a quarterback. So that just seems like a bad mix right now. But who knows? Who knows? I'm sure they'll find their way to 9-8. Should we wrap it, or did you have any more up there? I had one more thing. I had one more thing that I wanted to add. Someone sent this. Someone emailed this, and I wanted to make sure they pointed out that us not having anything to say, and some of these conversations go into the dark place, feeling like Who Dey Dark. They threw this together, and I thought maybe you guys would enjoy this Dey Dark that was thrown together. And so if we ever do go to and this is sort of like the social clip, Charlie, where you were doing the Field of Dreams fading into the cornfield. I feel like this is kind of a little bit of an ode to that for the real ones that know. But how about this for a Who Dey Dark template? Appreciate that one. What very
I
very
really
well
need
done.
a haircut in that photo. I really need a haircut in that photo.
I would agree with that. You certainly do, but I love that one. Very, very well done. Very well done. I should give that Tommy Holmes. You deserve credit on that. I'll make sure you got your name in there because you crushed it on that one. All right. I think that wraps us up, boys. We did it.
You
did
had
5 days where only 2 things happened.
Yeah. I was gonna say in the rundown you had mentioned we needed someone that was graders worthy.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
Tommy H
or David, because we love all of our Growl Pals, but if you're going to patronize our sponsors and hire Sztanyo to sell your house or to get your house, maybe that guy is graders worthy as well. Yeah, that's a great way to break in a new house.
Growl Pal deserves a greater shipper showing up at his brand new Sztanyo sold condo. Yeah, that feels serendipitous right there. That comes together. I like that beautifully. All right, that's what's going to be.
Sorry, Tommy.
I hope the guy's got some spoons. But
no, Tommy, you're getting one too. I like it.
I
love it. We're doubling up. Double graders worthies tonight because we've done a bunch of shows this week. And we got to make sure we give love to our great friends over there. Both of those were graders worthy, and so those will be coming your way. Send us. Let's get those emails. Email to me, and we will get your addresses and get those things shipped to your front door. The delicious grader shippers, 6 pints of your choosing on the inside, dry ice, gorgeous. And Charlie, someday you'll have a spoon, and you too could maybe be graders worthy. But the day you buy cutlery,
you take the wooden spoons from the stadium, don't
utensils. Yeah,
love it. All right,
no utensils.
Yes, you guys are awesome. This has been fun. Thanks to everybody that has come around for these and hopped into the chat and thrown in questions and said stuff, whether it was in come in every night. You guys are the real ones, and we certainly appreciate you. And we'll be back. We'll be back next week. We'll be back into more of the regular schedule. And of course, if anything big goes down from this point forward, a Who Dey Night emergency could just be one big move away. So keep an eye out for that. And we look forward to it. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later.